Hi. So if you're watching this now, that means you have probably already took the jump and have bought your Maskcara IIID Foundation, and hopefully it got to you really quickly and you're looking at your box and you're wondering, okay, now what? I've got all this makeup, I watched Brittany do a video, but how am I supposed to do this? So I wanted to walk you through not in a sped up video, and just kind of show you the details of how you apply your 3D foundation. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to make sure that you're moisturizing your face, or exfoliating. If you've got dry skin, make sure you're exfoliating and moisturizing your face really well. Now, some people like to use a primer with their foundation. I don't like to use a primer, and I really only recommend that you use a primer if you've got really oily skin and you need to put a primer on that's going to help matte your skin tone. If you've already got dry skin, just work on moisturizing it. If you've got normal skin, you shouldn't really need a primer. That's not to say that you can't use one if you like using one. So that's what you're going to do first, is make sure you've got your skin moisturized, and then you're going to make sure that if you're choosing to use a primer, that you're going to put your primer on. So once you've got that ready, then you're going to go ahead and start your application of your foundation. Now, the first few times you use this, you're probably going to spend a little bit more time trying to figure out exactly where you like your placement. As you get used to putting it on, it's just going to go really, really fast. So be patient with yourself. Remember that there is a little bit of a learning curve when you're learning a new thing and a new way of doing something. So just be patient with yourself. In your kit, you should have got your little face map that shows you where to put your highlight and contour. Now, that is kind of for a generalized face shape. I'm going to be posting on there some of the different contour techniques for different face shapes that will help you achieve the look that you're looking for. So for this, I'm just going to go into just kind of an overview, and then if you have questions on your specific face shape, feel free to comment below, and then watch for me to post that graphic and image for you to see how to do some of the different face shapes. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is remember that this is very pigmented and it goes a long way, so you really don't need to use a ton of it. So all you're going to do is take your brush and you're just going to kind of tap it into your makeup, your highlight, or however you like to do it. First, I like to do my highlight first. You're just going to tap it in there, and you see there's not a ton of product on there. This is not something that you want to dig it out and get back and forth on. If you're putting it on too heavy, you're going to feel like it's on really heavy because it's a cream foundation and it's not going to set into your skin. Okay, so I've just got a little bit on, and because it's a buildable foundation, I mean, you can see I didn't put very much on and it is like really covering good. You always start with less, and then you can always build it up. That being said, if you happen to get a little bit heavy-handed, you can always go through afterwards and kind of clean some of it up too. Now, if you're putting on your foundation and you're like, whoa, Brittany said that I would wear this color, and this color does not look like my skin tone. You can see on me that this is a yellower color. I know my lighting is kind of funny. This is a brighter and yellower color than my natural pigment. And that's what you want in your highlight. You don't want it to be this pink color. You want it to be bright and give you that glowing look. So don't be scared if you go to apply your makeup and it looks like this. This is how it's supposed to look. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a couple more taps, and we're gonna do this side. And remember that we're just kind of creating this triangle. So you want to take this along from your temple, down the top of your jawline, to your lip, up the side of your nose, and under your eye. So you're making this big sweeping triangle. And I like to kind of blend with my brush as I go. And so, sometimes you'll see me going over things and over things and over things, and that's because I don't like to have to do a whole lot of work with the blender afterwards. I want to try to get a lot of that blending done, if I can, during my initial application. Okay, go over your lip. Don't forget your lip. if you don't add this color on top of your lip, but you get it on your cheeks, then it gives that shadow illusion there, and you don't want to have shadow on your lip. Okay, so for your nose, you're going to run it right down the bridge of your nose. Now, a lot of people really like to use their finger to apply it this way right here. I have a very, I don't have large pores. I have a very like smooth surface on my nose, so it's very easy for me to apply it with a brush. If you've got large pores or you've got bumps and things on your nose, noses are funky, man. So if your skin on your nose is a little bit funny and you're trying to apply it with your brush and it's not going on even, then you just tap with your finger, literally, not very much, and just kind of run it up and down the bridge of your nose. And I'm gonna do a whole post too on nose contouring. But for now, I say just keep it simple. So you're gonna wanna do the bridge of your nose like this, and then you are gonna do some makeup on the side of your nose. So we're gonna put it here on the side of our nose, and I like to pull it up here because as you can see, I have really dark set and deep circles, or deep set dark circles. So I like to pull here. Now what I don't like to do is run it over my whole eyelid. Why? Well, because that's the whole point of this makeup, is that we don't want to sit and layer and layer and layer on our face. So if you're gonna put eyeshadow on, then don't bother putting makeup on there first. You're just gonna cover it back up and create more and more layers and more ways that it's gonna crease and things like that. You don't want it to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit here on this side of my nose. And you see, I'm just kind of doing along the side. I'm kind of leaving this here because I am gonna contour there just a little bit. If you're not into the nose contouring, you're not sure about it, it is like kind of maybe, you know, mascara foundation it can be a beginner thing, but sometimes that nose contouring can get a little bit intimidating. And so if you don't wanna do it, just go ahead and highlight here and don't even stress out about it. Don't let it freak you out. And then if you want to do it, you can always go through and add some in there. Okay, now for your forehead, you want to catch in between your eyebrows, and you want to be careful that you don't get too heavy right here. This is where we tend to have, our skin tends to be a little bit looser right here, unless you're Botoxing. And then you can it can look a little bit heavy here because of that. So what you want to do is just kind of put it there, and then you're just going to kind of fan it out. There's not really a technique to this that makes it better than another. You can go back and forth. You can sit and fan it all up. When I was in cosmetology school and I went through my aesthetics courses, they always teach you that you only move up. And so I prefer to just do like this and not worry about going up and down or side to side, but there's not really a technique to it. But you know you're going to be contouring around the edges. So don't feel like you have to take this clear to your hairline, because again, that's like unnecessarily layering. Okay, a couple more taps. This is why your highlight will last you forever, because you really don't need very much. Okay, so for your chin, I'm just going to kind of apply it here. And I kind of like to apply it clear to the corners of my mouth and then kind of taper it back on like an angle here. And then from there, you're going to go right up that jawline. Now what you're not doing is you're not just drawing a really thin line here. You're kind of filling in, and if you suck in your cheek, you're kind of filling in clear up to where your cheek pulls in. So my cheek pulls in here. I'm going to highlight this whole bottom area right here. All right, because I'm just leaving where I'm going to contour. Everywhere else I'm putting my highlighter. We're going to do this side too. Now obviously this application is going to take me more than the kind of standard about 5 minutes, and that's because I'm taking my time and showing you things. I don't actually go this slow when I'm putting it on for real. Okay, so you can see I'm pretty well blended as it is, and that's because I go over and over it with my brush. So once you've got your highlight on, you're going to take, and I just use the one side of my contour brush and just dip it again in there. You can see how much is on there. Again, don't cake it on. This product can get really, really heavy if you don't just go light-handed with it. So we're gonna set in my cheeks. Now, you see where your cheek pulls in? That's as far forward as I wanna take my contour, right there. Boom. Don't take it farther, because your mouth naturally puckers out right here. So drawing a contour clear to your lip is gonna make you look like the Joker. Don't do that. Pull in right here. That's where you're gonna stop. So we're gonna go from that point and kind of back up to our ear. Okay. Now I choose to use a dark contour. Probably the contour that you're starting with is probably not this high of a contrast. Everyone has their own personal preference on what they like for contour. So we're gonna dip again. Start here and put your contour in there. And how you choose to contour can be based on your preferences or your shape. Sometimes you want that straight line. Some people want to have that kind of rounded cheekbone, and you can kind of curve it here. Whatever you like to do for your own skin type. We're going to tap, tap, tap again. And we're going to go under the jawline. Now, we're not painting clear down our neck. All we're doing is drawing this shadow. You can see I naturally already have a shadow there. So all we're doing is enhancing that shadow that's already there. Okay, so we're gonna take this and just draw in that shadow and then kind of pull it down to blend it. Okay, a couple more taps. And this video is not live, however, if you guys comment and ask a question about something specific with your application, tag me in the comments so that I make sure I see it. I get an insane amount of notifications, so be sure and tag me in it. And I'll get back to you as quick as I can on any questions you have. Okay, so we did the cheeks, we did the chin. Now I'm gonna go through and do the hairline. Now the hairline is where you really wanna focus on your face shape, okay? My face shape is already pretty oval, so what we want is we want to pull forward our oval. So if your oval is here, that's what I'm gonna contour, is everything that's behind my little oval. So if you have a very round face shape, then your contour is gonna come farther out here, you know, or if you have a heart face shape or a square face shape, just remember that what you're looking for is that oval right there. And then everything else you can contour in. And you kind of just have to play with it and figure out just how much contouring looks the best on you and how much you want to do. Some people like to do a really stark contrast with their contour, and some people don't. Some people like to keep it really subtle and simple. I used to use a lot lighter of a contour, and then over time I got to where I really liked being able to have a little bit more of a distinguished look with the contour. Okay, so now you can kind of see before I blend that oval shape that goes from the end of my eyebrow around to the other end of my eyebrow. And that's kind of what you want. You can, if you want to pull your contour in a little bit above your eyebrow, because that kind of gives that illusion that that eyebrow is kind of popping. Again, that's just kind of a preference thing. Everyone contours different, so just do however you like to do it. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go through and blend this in a little bit. I like to kind of make a harsh line and then just blend it down so that it's a little bit darker right here, and then that shadow kind of fades a little bit as it comes down. But you want to make sure you don't blend it so far down that you're right into your highlight, because we're just not about layering and wasting makeup. Okay, now for your blush, a couple taps for your blush. Again, our blushes are super highly pigmented, so really just a couple of taps. Say cheese. That part that pops out right there, those are the apples of your cheeks. That's where you're gonna put your blush. Right there. And I just like to kind of tap it in. Feels like weirdo when you're smiling at yourself in the mirror, but you'll figure out where those are and not have to smile. So you're gonna tap that in, and I like to kind of tap it heavy right at that apple, and then kind of let it fade down and out into your contour there. You see how? A couple more taps for the other side. Tap it right on the apples of your cheeks, and then kind of let it go down into the rest of your contour. Okay, so you shouldn't have any highlight lines here in between your blush and your contour. Now, as my own personal preference, I like to keep this line here looking nice and flat. So even though the apples of my cheeks are here, sometimes when I'm blushing, I get like that rounded look right there, which I'm not a fan of personally for myself. So then I kind of go through with my highlight after and kind of redefine that triangle line there at the bottom of my highlight. Okay. Did we miss any spots? Okay, so then you're gonna blend. Now blending is super important. It's important on yourselves and making sure that your makeup blends good and melts into your skin. So what you're gonna wanna do is take your blender ball and you're gonna fill it with water, okay? So this is not something you use dry. You're gonna take it, you're gonna fill it with water and you're gonna squeeze it out. Fill it again, squeeze it out. Really get it nice and full of water. Squeeze it out good. Squeeze it as hard as you can. Get all that water out. And then I even actually take mine and put it in my hand towel and give it one last squeeze. So it should just barely be damp, but it'll be nice and full and fluffy. Okay, so once it's a little bit damp, the reason why that you want to do that is if you're using a dry sponge, it's going to want to absorb all this makeup off your face because it is a cream foundation, and so it's got some moisture to it, and that sponge is going to want to suck it up. Sorry. But you also don't want to do it dry where you're just rubbing everything off either. So this kind of gives you that perfect consistency. Now what I always like to tell people is you're not rubbing, you're not wiping your makeup off with this. The motion that I like to do is a rolling motion. So you just kind of push and roll. And it's a pretty gentle pressure, nothing too crazy. It's just kind of a tap and roll. And the way that I like to remember to do it is if you imagine that your nose is like a mountain and everything is fading away from it. So you're always going to roll away from your nose. So when we're doing our forehead, we're going to roll here, away from our nose. So we're kind of blending that highlight up into the contour, okay? We get to the sides, again, now we're rolling away from the nose here. Away from the nose here. So now we're kind of rolling down away from your nose. And I usually don't have a ton of blending to do aside from that contour right there because I do so much blending as I go. Now you want to go through and make sure that you then just go through and press. And that's just going to get any excess makeup that you maybe got on off. Maybe you went a little heavy-handed here. If you've got excess makeup, anytime you smile or you get creases in your face, sometimes that makeup will crease, which is just normal of any makeup really. The great thing about this cream foundation is as long as you make sure you don't have an excess amount on, you shouldn't have issues with your makeup creasing. And if for some reason maybe you did get a little excess, maybe it does crease a little bit, you go through with your fingers and give it a little tap and those creases will be gone. So it's really easy. Now what I like to do next, wait, I'll kind of blend your neck a little bit here. Okay, so that's it. You don't have to do a ton of blending work, hopefully. Now the other thing that I really like to do is I like to put the cheek color on my lips just to kind of give me a finished look if I'm not going to put on lipstick for the day and I'm just going to be out running around or something and you just want to have that kind of complete look. Remember that you can use that. Now this isn't moisturizing the way a lip balm or a lip gloss is going to be on your lips, so you can, sorry I have the hiccups, you can put this on and then you can go through and put on your chapstick, put on your lip gloss, put on whatever you want on top of it. And you don't have to worry about how it's going to change. So the other thing I like to do is I like to use, this is our multitasker brush, the small end of our multitasker brush. And I like to use my contour to do my eyebrows. This contour color is so awesome for eyebrows. So if you haven't tried it yet, if you are someone who normally would fill in your eyebrows anyway, maybe you buy a pencil, maybe you buy a brow powder, this cream foundation is phenomenal for filling in your eyebrows. And typically, and this isn't always the case, but typically the color that you chose to be the right color for your contour is usually a decent choice for your eyebrows too. Now the exception would be if you've got real pale skin and so you went for a lighter contour color and you've got really dark hair, so you've got really dark eyebrows, then you'd probably need to order a darker contour color to do your eyebrows with. Okay, well, that's good enough, right? Okay, so that's it. That's basic application for your highlight, your contour, your blush, and then if you chose to use your contour to do your eyebrows. Now, when you're blending, remember, you want it to blend. You want to not be able to see some stark line from one color to the next color. But it's okay to see the color difference. That's kind of the point. And I'm in really harsh lighting right now. But that's kind of the point. We want to see the light and the dark. You want it to blend, but you don't want to wipe it off, you know. And it takes a minute to get used to seeing yourself in the mirror with different colors on your face. But guess what? When you go out, people are not going to look at you and see different colors on your face unless you don't blend them at all. They're just going to look and they're just going to see that glowing look on your face, that kind of more chiseled look to your face. And you're going to get lots of compliments and you're going to really be happy with your makeup. So if you guys have any questions, comment them below. Be sure to tag me in them so that I make sure that I see them and can get back to you right away. So happy makeuping and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.